On the screen is an example of a completed timeline. This timeline relates to Karim's case study. In setting up the timeline activity, the therapist explains that the rationale for the task is to provide an overview of what the young person has been through in some order. It can help with processing their traumas and highlights where more detailed reliving work is required. Make clear to the young person that there is no set rule on how long the timeline will take. It could be one session or more. This exercise can be very difficult for young people. Validate their emotions, show empathy, and consider potential need for a pause and to practice a grounding strategy. A line is drawn to indicate the young person's age. It's important to work collaboratively and be creative. Give young people a choice over how they would prefer to build their timeline, for example, using paper, the computer, photos, or writing. The therapist and the young person work to add brief details of traumatic events at age points along the timeline, going in order. Details can include a label, a short description of what happened, where the event took place, as well as key emotions and cognitions that were experienced at the time. It can also be helpful to ask young people to rate their distress level linked to each trauma out of 10, 10 being the highest distress, and to mark which traumas relate to re-experiencing symptoms that they are currently having. Not all young people will be able to add this level of detail to their timeline, which is okay. Young people should also be given the option to add positive events to their timeline and/or future hopes and goals. The video joins Karim and his therapist after the task has been explained, as they are adding his first point to the timeline.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. We'll go in order. What do you think should be the first memory to go on the timeline?
I remember my mum was drunk and I couldn't wake her up.
Okay, so that sounds really tough. Do you remember how old you were?
I think maybe 6.
Okay, that makes me wonder, is there anything else, or even anything positive, that we should put that came before you were 6?
That was the first thing I really remember.
Okay, let's start with that then. What colour and shape shall we use?
Just a blue square.
Okay. And if you had to label this memory, what would you call it?
Mum passed out.
Okay. Let's add some brief details.
Okay.
Did this happen at home? Were you somewhere else?
Yeah, we were at home in the living room.
Okay, all right. And if you had to rate how upsetting this memory is from 0 to 10, 0 being the least upsetting, 10 being the most upsetting, how upsetting is this one for you?
A 9 out of 10.
Okay, so really upsetting. Let's mark that on here as well. Is this one of those memories that's popping out on you when it's not welcome?
Not really, but I do sometimes think about it.
Okay. So it's not popping out in the day, is it popping out at night?
No, not really.
Okay. I'm wondering, I know we just need to be brief, so just as much as you're comfortable to say, were there any particularly tricky thoughts or feelings that you had at the time?
Well, I thought my mum was dead.
Okay.
And I was really worried.
Gosh, yeah, understandably, that sounds really frightening. So let's add those in.
Okay.
I'm going to put the thoughts in one colour. And let's put that feeling in another colour.
Okay.
Does that look okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
The therapist and Karim went on to talk about other memories that you can see here on the screen, including another positive time of being reunited with mum, then more negative memories of mum's partner and the abuse. We are coming back now as we talk about the first memory that Karim has intrusions of.
Okay. What would be the next memory that we need to add to the timeline?
Well, I remember Al, he hit Mum and he threw a bottle at the TV. That was pretty tough.
Okay, so this one sounds really difficult. I'm just wondering, in terms of that scale of upset, how upsetting is this one?
Probably a 9.
Okay, so really upset. I can see that it's an upsetting one as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to get that picture on your phone out and have a look at it and sort of
Okay.
remind you of the here and now and that you're okay now? You can even leave it on the desk if you want to,
All right.
so that we can just look at that if you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed or anything.
Okay.
All right. So, difficult question again, but it doesn't matter how much you say, just as much as you can. We can be brief. Are there any thoughts you had at the time that were particularly tricky?
Remember, I was scared. I felt you would never leave. I was panicking.
Okay, so let's add that in. All right. And the feeling you said was scared and panicking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And is this one of those memories that's popping out on you more?
Yeah, this one pops out quite a bit.
Okay. Let's mark that so that we've kept a note of it being one that pops out. Shall we put an asterisk by it?
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
The video now jumps to the completed timeline.
So, Karim, you've done so well to put all of this together. It's a really hard activity to do, but this timeline is going to be really useful to some of the rest of the work that we do together. So well done. I'm just wondering, like, how does it feel? Like, what do you make of looking at all of this together?
It's quite a lot. I feel quite overwhelmed looking at it. Yeah, it's not quite nice.
Absolutely. I mean, it is overwhelming. It's difficult, but it's very, very important. So well done. I guess I'm just wondering, is there anything that we've missed?
No, I don't think.
Okay, well done.
Karim went on to add many more memories to his timeline, as you can see here. There may be other events and related thoughts and feelings that you are aware of from the young person's assessment, which you can ask about at this point to see if and where they might fit on the timeline. It may be that you refer back to measures also used in the assessment.